This is Field Notes from the Proving, short reflections from inside the process of building a life that's earned, not perfected, earned. The marathon doesn't break you at the end. It breaks you in the middle when you realize you went out too fast and you still have everything left to lose. There's a drive leading up to the marathon, but no one talks about the morning of. Because the morning of, you feel like a complete and utter weirdo. Hear me out. You wake up hours before the race, the same ritual as the half marathon, but this time it doesn't feel routine. It kind of feels like you're guessing. For me, it was cold. You're standing there and trying to decide, do I wear cold gear? Do I bring something I can throw away? Am I already messing this up? I went with the sweatshirt. Something I toss once I basically got going. And then the next wave hits, the drive. You leave early, and I say early, hours early, and still you hit traffic. Why? Road closures and just cars everywhere, people everywhere, pedestrians, family, you name it, it's there. And now the thoughts start stacking. Did I train enough? Did I eat enough? Did I sleep enough? Is my phone charged? Do I even have everything that I need? And then why is there traffic? What does it feel like when I'm not going to make it? And you start seeing the runners walking, the shorts, the tank tops. And now you're comparing, oh, they're in shorts and I'm in pants. Am I doing this wrong? Why are they walking? We're still miles away. And that's the moment you realize you don't feel like a marathoner. You feel like someone who's pretending to be one. I got dropped off in a neighborhood. My husband went to park the car and I just started walking through quiet streets towards something that didn't feel real yet. Eventually, I made my way to the start line right outside the Cavalier Hotel in Virginia Beach. And I remember just kind of standing there, stretching and trying to calm down. I certainly remember my stomach hurting, that anxious type of pain that you get. And I just kept telling myself, you did everything right, you'll be fine. And then my husband found me in the crowd. He just kind of stood there with me just for a moment before everything started, which was awesome. And it's always one thing that they don't talk about with the marathons, just how nice it is when you see the familiar face, and especially your spouse or partner or significant other that just stands there with you and, pumping you up, telling you can do it. It means so much to me. And looking back, it's such great fuel despite the caffeine you had prior. And then they call it. All right, start getting in your waves or your corrals. And I remember walking into mine, looking down at my shoes, the Saucony Endorphin Elites, and thinking, all right, this is happening. The sun was coming up over the Cavalier Hotel, golden light hitting the building right on the beach. It was beautiful. Honestly, one of the most beautiful mornings that I've ever seen. And for a second, everything kind of goes quiet. You line up, the gun goes off, and instantly you're moving. Mile 1, mile 2, mile 3, mile 4. I'm sitting at an 8:25 pace, 8:20 pace, 8:11 pace, 8:08 mile. And it feels good, almost honestly too good, quite honestly. By mile 4, I kind of knew I'm in a rhythm. This is exactly where I want to be. From mile 5 to mile 10, I really started pushing. 7:59, 8, 7:55, 7:58, 7:57, 7:57. And I remember thinking, yeah, I feel strong. And then mile 11 hit, and I found a pacer. For the first time ever, really running with one. And that was actually a little bit of a weird experience, quite honestly. And I didn't know if I could hold it. So I tested it. 7:49, 7:55, 7:55, and then 13.1 miles, an hour 44, a PR in the middle of a marathon. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I am hauling fucking ass right now. This is amazing. Also, this is probably a massive mistake because deep down I knew I might have just fucked my back half. And hear me out. At the halfway mark, the course splits. Half marathoners go right, marathoners go left. And then I went left. Something shifted. There's less people, much less noise, less energy. And for a second, I felt like I belonged. I'm part of this now. But that feeling doesn't last long. Because the marathon really does not care how you feel whatsoever. Miles 14 through 18, 7:54, 8:05, 8:10, 7:58, 8:06. This is where things start to really break down. You go from crowds to absolute silence. Boardwalk on one side, ocean on your left. You have houses and streets to your right, and just you, and your thoughts, and your music, and your aching legs. And then by mile 18, I started to question everything. By mile 19, it hit me. I'm about to run further than I ever ran in my life. Mile 19, 8:29, mile 20, 8:27. And I remember texting my husband, mile 20, feeling super proud, feeling accomplished. And then for it to vanish almost immediately and think, oh fuck, I have 6.2 miles left. And then another, basically, 10K left. I don't know how I'm going to do this. So the finish line really didn't feel too close at that point, and I felt like it was getting further away. Mile 21, 8:34. Mile 22, 8:50. Mile 23, 9:10. There was a bridge. And all I can remember, just to put it into words, was in one word, actually, dying. My legs were gone, quads screaming, everything hurting. This also was when I made a rookie mistake. First time taking gels at mile 22. Way too late. And at that point, you're not refueling, you're surviving. And all I kept telling myself was just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. Just don't stop. By mile 24, 9:24, mile 25, 10:23. And I can honestly say, humbly looking back, this is where everything collapsed. My legs were done. My hands hurt. My body hurt. My mind was absolutely gone. And also, you can almost even say playing tricks on you. I really wanted to stop. I questioned everything. Why did I do this? This was miserable. Then came mile 26, and just something changed, not physically, but mentally. You start seeing people again. You hear the noise, and suddenly you're close. Mile 26, 8:45. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm actually going to do this. And then it's the final stretch, which should have been 0.2 miles. It felt like 0.4 miles, a long straightaway, crowds screaming, energy everywhere. And then I saw it, the finish line. And honestly, I just started crying. For the last stretch, I was crying the entire time. I can't believe I'm about to call myself a marathoner. I did this, and this is all mine. So the finish, 3 hours, 40 minutes, 51 seconds, 26.4 miles. And as you know, you dive and weave throughout the race, so you add a little bit more mileage at an 8:21 pace. I crossed the finish line running, not walking, running, and I hit every goal. I finished, I ran the whole thing, and I broke 4 hours. But the biggest thing wasn't the time. It really wasn't the pace. It was knowing that I just didn't quit. There's one thing I can't leave out, because this wasn't just me. Throughout the race, I kept hearing my phone go off. Texts from my husband, updates, encouragement, him tracking me, running around, finding different spots to cheer me on. And every time I saw him, it gave me just something, energy, emotion, just a reason to keep going. This wasn't just an accomplishment for me, it was for us. For the life, I guess, we were building, for the support that carried me through something. I couldn't have really done this alone. And I'm so deeply grateful that he was there that day. And he's been in my life every day since then, and even before that. It's just such a grateful and memorable and wonderful experience because of him. What I found out and learned was that 26.2 miles isn't just about the running. It's about who you become when everything in you is telling you to stop and you don't. The proving isn't finished. It never is. But now you don't have to wonder anymore. You already know. And the work continues.